Look, leg meta is one of the oldest memes in Tarkov, whether it's shooting someone in the leg or just simply doing flesh damage. This has been around in the community for a long time, but there are a lot of misconceptions about how it works, and more importantly, what are the best rounds to do it. So let's talk about leg meta and some of the best choices you can make when trying to go for this strat. Before we get into the testing here today, I do want to remind you guys I stream on Twitch. The link for that will be featured down in the description if you want to swing by the chat or watch any of these videos being made live. Let's jump into what is leg meta so we can break up some common misconceptions. The first thing you need to know is that the PMC has 440 HP. More importantly, he has 65 HP on both his left leg and also the right leg. So with that out of the way, you might be asking, why not arm meta, and why are you not talking about arms in this video? So one of the most common questions will be, why not arm meta? And that is actually a really great question. The first thing about your arm being blacked is that using items and searching containers is 50% slower. Also, reloading, drawing, and aiming weapons takes 67% more time. The most important thing, however, is additional damage taken will be distributed over the entire body pool at 0.7 of the flesh damage of the round. So that's where leg meta comes in, and if we have a quick look about legs, each leg destroyed reduces your speed by 45%. Not only that, but it also decreases your jump height. Sprinting, obviously, you take damage, and that stacks if you have a fracture. I don't know if you guys have been there, but it gets really devastating when you're trying to get out of a raid. But the most important thing is that the additional damage taken distributed to the rest of the body is 1 times the damage, which means when you shoot someone in the leg when it's black, it'll apply the full flesh damage evenly to all the other body parts on the body. Something I found out recently was that the stomach actually has more going on than you realize. Not only does it massively increase dehydration and energy loss, and then obviously if you become dehydrated, you can lose up to 3 health points every 3.5 seconds. The stomach, however, actually makes you take an additional 1.5 times the damage dealt if you are shot in a black stomach. So this can mean really bad news if you happen to get shot there. Now, luckily enough, you can sew it back on with surgery kits, but this being said, you have a lot of different armor that can sometimes cover this spot. And so that's why there's been a huge rise towards leg meta, because not only are legs one of the easiest things to hit, but they also cover a bigger area and are usually not covered in armor as we have no leg armor. Let's get into the meat of this video. We're going to be starting off here today with leg meta from SMGs, starting with 9x19 RIP, Quakemaker, 45 ACP RIP and Hydra Shock, 9x18 SP7 and SP8, 7.60x25 LRNPC, and also 5.7x28 R37F from the P90. Now, these are some of the best rounds you can get. Obviously, we're not going to do every single round here today because this video would be hours long, but I chose some specific ones for some different reasons. Let's jump straight into the Keta, and obviously at 1000 RPM, we're going to be seeing SP8 actually destroy them legs at 8 shots. Now, that's actually pretty damn decent for SP8, as it's not one of the best rounds in the game, especially the fact that it doesn't really hold a candle to some of the better rounds here. Now, obviously, SP8 is outclassed by its cousin, SP7, which actually has a bit more flesh damage coming in at 77. This would be your best bang for buck option when you're going for leg meta, because the PP Clin and also the Keta are both early accessible, the round's decently priced, and it shreds legs. I've also got another gun here, the Papa Shaft or the PPSH, with LRNPC at 66 damage. What this gun has is a lot of fire rate at 1000 RPM. However, it's let down by 8 hits for the leg. I would really like to see a better round for this gun. For the P90, we're going to be looking at R37F, which is personally one of my favorite leg meta rounds because of those extended mags of the P90, coming in at 6 hits. Moving towards one of the big boys in the game, 9x19 Quakemaker. Truly both a cheap and effective round, can bring down a PMC on the same leg in 6 shots. It is also outclassed by its cousin 9x19 RIP, which has 102 damage, which will bring down your enemy in 5. However, it's a lot more expensive than Quakemaker, making Quakemaker a great budget option. Now, 45 ACP Hydra Shock is actually just behind 9mm RIP, which means we're going to see a lot more consistency here. Not only does the 45 ACP Vector have insane fire rate, but it takes 6 shots to bring down an enemy on the same leg. When we look at 45 ACP RIP with 127 damage, we can see it brings down our target in 4 shots to the legs, which is just absolutely nutty. Just to be thorough, we decided to test some assault rifles, starting off with 5.56 by 45 War Mage, 10.625 Ultra Nozzler, 3.66 Gexa, 12.7 by 55 PS12A from the Ash 12, and 5.45 by 39 HP. Now, we kind of threw HP in at the end, and it's not really that good. Let's have a quick look how it all stacks up. Starting off with HP, one of the worst rounds here at 74 damage. It takes 7 hits to bring down our target, which isn't great. 5.56 by 45 War Mage with a little bit more flesh isn't as good, but comes in at 6 hits. It's a nice competitor, especially fired out of the HK. As for Ultra Nozzler, even if you are firing it out of a FAL with 107 recoil, it does take 5 hits. However, that recoil is quite nuts, so you really do need to be on point. As for the Ash 12, I mean, the same story applies, limited mag size, but it does take our target down here today in 4 hits, which is pretty damn nuts. Last but not least, 3.66 Gexa. Let's have a quick look at that 110 damage. Now we're going to be noticing it does take our enemy down in 5 hits, which is pretty decent, but that recoil is quite monstrous. If you guys are enjoying this video so far, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be working on more armor testing in the future, so if you don't want to miss that, make sure you're subscribed. For shotguns, we're going to be testing 8.5 Magnum Buckshot, 6.5 Express, Rip Slugs, Superformance. For 20 gauge or the TOS, we'll be testing Devastator Slugs, and for the KS-23, we will be testing Shrap 10 and Shrap 25. Jumping straight into Devastator from the TOS, I mean, this gun is a little bit of a meme, but if you do manage to get 3 or 4 shots on the same leg, I mean, you're doing really well. You can actually bring someone down in 3, and this gun is a lot of fun to use. I mean, as for the KS-23, I don't think this is going to come as any surprise to you guys, but it will be 1 shot to the legs because it has a whopping 600 plus damage, and it has even more damage with Shrap 10 equaling a 1 shot. As for Express, we don't have enough in 1 shot at 315 with every pellet. So it's going to take 2 shots to bring down our target. Same thing with Magnum Buck, we are just shy, which means you could get every pellet and make someone bleed out. But it's going to be the same story across the board, including Rip Slugs at 265 damage per slug. And obviously, Superformance Slugs are going to take about 3 to bring your target down. Now, all of this being said, the problem with shotguns is that they apply damage across every pellet. That means the total amount of damage isn't guaranteed. So you actually have to hit your pellets on the same body part for it to work. As you can see with Shrap 25, the shotgun or the KS-23 here is decent enough. Even at 10-25 meters, you can actually see the spread isn't so bad. Especially under 20 meters, you should be able to hit just enough pellets to bring down your target. Now the MP153, although it does have lower damage, and I guess that's disappointing, it does have better accuracy. We look at the tightness of the spread, especially with a stock 153 using Express, and we'll notice that the range that we are able to work with is a lot longer. And the same story goes for Magnum Buckshot, still being tighter than the Shrap 10 and Shrap 25. So with all this talk about how many rounds per leg, you may be confused about time to kill, so let's get into that. Let's just have a quick look at a full auto 45 ACP Vector against the leg. Obviously an MP9N with Rip to the leg, and also that P90 with R37F. And if we look at the time to kill difference between the two, it's minimal. The crazy part about this comparison is that they both have 1100 rounds per minute on the Chris Vector, and the MP9N also does. One's firing a round called 9x19 Rip, which has less flesh damage than its cousin 45 ACP Rip. But the difference really when you're getting shots down range doesn't really matter. You kind of want to go for a gun with a drum mag, so I would always recommend if you are going for leg meta with SMGs, maybe consider running something like the 9mm Vector with a drum mag, a Glock 18 or something with an extended mag like an MP5, and you may have better luck. With all that out of the way, in a non-ideal world, obviously the 45 ACP Vector with Rip is going to be the fastest time to kill out of the SMG class, and obviously the KS-23 from the shotguns. As for the assault rifle, I mean, you can look at the FAL or the Ash 12, but if you can get a full mag onto someone's leg with both of those guns, I mean, you're a god, and you should probably be using M61 and hit him in the head anyway. Last but not least, because for some weird reason you stuck around to the end of the video, and I do appreciate you for that, we are going to be jumping into the GL40 with the shotgun rounds. Now, this is a little bit of a meme for a few different reasons. Now, the first one is obviously the ludicrous price of the GL, and I would never recommend these rounds because they're really not that good. What's super interesting about the GL shotgun rounds or the M576s is that they actually have pellets similar to a normal shotgun, meaning that they do 15 pellets of 160 damage, totaling 2,400 in total. Now, this is for a few reasons, but I did want to point out that you could kill someone in about 3 pellets of this shotgun round, so you really don't have to hit a lot on the same leg to destroy them. But before you go and break the bank and buy a GL40, just have one quick look at this spread. And I mean, this is absolutely no joke. For this GL round to actually work, you do need to be like basically under 5 meters away. And as you can see, that's exactly where I am. And just have a look at that spread. I mean, it is terrible. And you really do just need to get lucky when using this. But I can definitely see some good memes being had. All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed any of this content here today, feel free to subscribe. I will be working on separate videos just like this one for armors and all that sweet content that you guys know and enjoy. Thank you so much for watching to the very end. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.